Hey guys, LC Comics here, back again with another video. I haven't shown you guys my trade collection, so I thought I might as well do that. I just thought I'd give you a video. It's only like a shelf and a half. Obviously I've got this bit and then a full shelf and then a little bit more. Here's some of my Blu-rays, by the way. So yeah, I just thought I'd go through them. So firstly, I have the volumes I have so far of the Archer and Armstrong series. So volume 1, the Michelangelo Code, volume 2, Wrath of Eternal Warrior, which is my favourite in the series so far, volume 3, Far Far Away, volume 4, Sex Civil War, and volume 5, Mission Improbable, which is a crossover with Bloodshot. That's my second favourite volume in the series so far. Overall, probably one of my least favourite Valiant series, but still a fun read, so I do carry on with it. Then after that is one of the first Image series I ever read, Autumnlands, Volume 1, Tooth and Claw, and Volume 2, Woodland Creatures. This is a pretty cool series by Kurt Busiek and Dewey? I don't know the name of the artist. But the first volume I was kind of disappointed with. It was all just a lot of setup, but the second volume really improved on the series as a whole, and I definitely enjoyed that one a lot more. So then Avengers vs X-Men, which is the Marvel event, one of the first trades I ever bought, I think, because this was being released when I first got into comics, and I thought it looked pretty cool. I really enjoyed this for someone who isn't a big Marvel fan, which is surprising. But and again, I don't like the X-Men, so it's even more surprising. So yeah, Batman: Arkham Asylum, which is one of the books that my dad gave me. I think this book is massively overrated, both writing and artwork. The artwork's creepy, sure, but you can hardly tell anything that's going on. So I'm not a big fan of that. Then Batman: The Long Halloween, probably my favourite Batman story. If you know me, you know I like Batman, but I'm not a huge Batman fan. But Batman: The Long Halloween is amazing. Definitely check that out. It's brilliant. Batman Man Bat, another book that my dad gave me. This was okay. Weird artwork again. It's more about Man Bat than Batman. There's not even much Batman in the actual book. But it's still an okay read, so yeah. After that is a couple of Simpsons books that I bought when I was younger. Bartman, The Best of the Best. Surprisingly, quite good actually. And the Big Book of Bart Simpson was okay. Blackest Night by Jeff Johns and Ivan Rice. Brilliant event. Really enjoy it. One of my favourite DC events actually. And then I have the tie into that, Blackest Night, Black Lantern Corps. Volume 1. Normally, by the way, I would have my trades organised into publisher, but at the moment I just had them out alphabetical because I thought I'd change up a bit. After that is Black Knight, The Fall of Dane Whitman, which is a pretty entertaining series if you like the Black Knight as a character. Black Road, Volume 1, it's okay, not quite sure what else to say about that. It was really average. I probably won't end up getting the second volume. Let me just adjust my camera so that you guys can see. Oh, there we go. So let's start. Also, there's my pop figures, Deathstroke, Flash, and Green Arrow. Let's just move those quickly, so I can get into this. What can you see? Alright, I'm gonna have to get in closer. Let's just go handheld. Anyway, in the corner here is Bloodshot Volume 1, Setting the World on Fire, Volume 2, The Rise and the Fall, Volume 3, Harbinger Wars, Volume 4. I don't know why that volume is shorter, but it is. Volume 4, Hardcore, and Volume 5, Get Some. First 3 volumes, really don't like them, to be honest. But then Volumes 4 and 5, great, so good. Some of my favourites. I will go more in depth than that in my Valiant Act 2 video. Brightest Day, Volume 1, got this really cheap, and I just got on Blackest Night, so I thought fuck it, might as well. Carnage, great creepy artwork from Clayton Crane. I'm not sure who the writer is, but I really enjoyed this book. Carnage is one of my favourite villains. So, Checkmate Chimera, I got this really cheap ages ago. I remember reading it when I was younger and I enjoyed it. That's all I know. I think this is Infinite Crisis Aftermath, Battle of Bloodhaven. Yeah, it's pretty shit, to be honest. That's why I got it really cheap. That's all I'm really going to say about that. Deathmatch, Volume 1, Killing in the Name, Volume 2, 1,000 Cuts, and Volume 3, From Alpha to Omega. This series started so well. I loved it when it first started. The ending was slightly disappointing, but you can find these 3 volumes for really cheap normally. I know Forbidden Planet has the second 2 quite cheap. Definitely check that out, because I do really enjoy this series, and especially for how cheap you can get it for. Then you have the first Deathstroke New 52 run, Deathstroke Legacy and Deathstroke Lobo Hunt. Volume 1 is really good, Volume 2 is shit, and we're going to leave it at that. Then we have the second Deathstroke New 52 run, the Tony S. Daniel run, which I love, especially Volume 2. So I have Volume 1, Gods of War, Volume 2, God Killer, Volume 3, Suicide Run, and Volume 4, Family Business. Volume 2 is amazing, Volume 1 is really good, Volume 3 is okay, and so is Volume 4. It's probably my favourite Deathstroke run, even more than Deathstroke Rebirth, from what I've read of it, which I've read the first 3 volumes. So, yeah, take from that what you will. But on to that, Deathstroke Rebirth, Volume 1, The Professional, Deathstroke Rebirth, Volume 2, The Gospel of Slade, and Deathstroke Rebirth, Volume 3, Twilight. It is a brilliant series. Christopher Priest is obviously great. Pagulian, I think is his name, is a great artist, as well as Joe Bennett. Corey Nord as well, I know him from Exomanor, he's really good. It is a brilliant series, definitely. I just prefer the over-the-topness of Tony S. Daniel's run. Then I have a book called Demon Wars, Demon Awakens, Volume 1. This was written very much like a novel, and I was pretty disappointed with it. I don't know what else to say about that. Then on to The Doorman by Elliot Rahal, Daniel Kibblesmith, and Kendall Good. Elliot Rahal, previous guest of the podcast, I picked this up after getting in contact with him about that to see if I liked it, and it was pretty enjoyable, honestly. I did quite enjoy it. Then after that is Eternal Warrior Volume 1, Sword of the Wild, and Volume 2, Eternal Emperor. Volume 1 was very average, Volume 2 was really good. That's what I'm really going to say about that. Then we have Flashpoint, the infamous DC event. This was really good, as you'd expect it to be. Next up, the Image series, The Goddamned, Volume 1, Before the Flood. I loved this, and there's no more of it so far, so that's really fun. Jason Aaron, please get back on that. Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters by Mike Grell. Considering this is heralded as one of Green Arrow's best stories, I really didn't enjoy this, which is surprising because I'm a big fan of Green Arrow, as you can probably tell, and also all the Green Arrow books that I have there. But yeah, Green Arrow Hunter's Moon was definitely a big improvement. I did quite enjoy that when I read it, but it's been a while. Green Arrow by Kevin Smith, one of my favourite story arcs of all time. So that's really good, and really good. Really good value on that trade. It's like 15 issues for like £10. Green Arrow Year 1, that's really good. Andy Diggle and Jock, both brilliant creators. Green Arrow and Black Canary, 5 stages. This ties into Blackest Night. It was okay. Then you get onto Green Arrow New 52, Volume 1, The Midas Touch, Volume 2, Triple Threat, Volume 3, Harrow, Volume 4, The Kill Machine, Volume 5, The Outsiders War, Volume 6, Broken, and Volume 7, Kingdom. We'll just pretend the first 3 volumes didn't happen, and if we do that, this run is brilliant, because Jeff Lemire and Sorrentino are fucking gods of comics, honestly. They are 2 of my absolute favourite creators, especially when they work together. read the first issue of Gideon Falls, and so far I'm loving it. After that is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Avengers Volume 1. It's from the Bendis run that came out because of the film. I got this really cheap and I really enjoyed it. That's all I'm really going to say about that. After that is Harbinger Volume 1 Omega Rising, Volume 2 Renegades, Volume 3 Harbinger Wars, Volume 4 Perfect Day, and Volume 5 Death of a Renegade. This is a really good, really consistent run from Valiant, and then there's the Harbinger Wars event as well, which ties into Volume 3 of Harbinger and Volume 3 of Bloodshot. Yeah, really good series, really consistent as well, which is really good. Image series Haunt by Joshua... That's not right. I think the character was created by Robert Kirkman and Todd McFarlane, and it's written by Robert Kirkman with art by... Oh, it's a big guy. I think it's like Brian Azzarello or something. No, Greg Capullo, that's it. I really, really enjoyed this first volume, and I need to pick up the rest at some point. Heathen, Volume 1. I didn't think I was going to enjoy this at all, and I did, so that's all good. Infamous Iron Man, Infamous, Volume 1 by Bendis. I really enjoyed this. I really liked Doctor Doom. I thought this was a really cool direction to go with the character. Now, a bunch of books that my dad gave me. JLA Strength in Numbers and JLA World Without Heroes. JLA Strength in Numbers is from the... I think it's Grant Morrison run, or Alan Moore, I don't know. Anyways, it's one of the like really heralded runs, and it was okay. I didn't mind it. World Without Grown-Ups was a bit better. I quite enjoyed that. But yeah, and then the first volume of the Image series Kill or Be Killed by Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, and Elizabeth Breitweiser. Yeah, Kill or Be Killed, the first volume, really good comic. If you're big into like the comic scene, you've probably heard a lot about it and heard that it's really good. So yeah. Now a bunch of like smaller print books. These are books that my dad gave me. Lobo Bounty Hunting for Fun and Profit. That's really good. Lobo and the Mask, book 1 and 2. That's really fun. And Lobo Judge Dredd. What does that say? Psycho Bikers versus the Mutants from Hell. Right. Yeah. That was just a fun short story. Then on to Marvel Comics versus DC Comics. That was like a big thing in the 90s, and it's a bit of a shit story, honestly. After that is Nemesis by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. I really like Nemesis. I'm hoping it gets turned into a film because it's really good. Outcast by Kirkman, Volume 1, and as a Keter. I prefer the TV show to the comic, honestly, and that's what I'm going to say about that because I'm not really a big fan of the comic. Paybacks Volume 1 by Donny Cates and Elliot Rahal. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. Punisher Complete Collection Volume 1 and Volume 2 by Garth Ennis. These are brilliant. I'm sure you've heard, if you like character Punisher, you've almost definitely been recommended these. Then Quantum and Woody Volume 1, The World's Worst Superhero Team, and Volume 2, Insecurity. This is a really fun and funny series, especially the first volume. Second volume was a little bit disappointing, but the first volume was brilliant. Then Rai, Welcome to Japan. This was a good setup by Matt Kint and Clayton Crane. It was really good for setting up like the character of Rai and everything, but apart from that, there wasn't much to it. So I'm hoping for more in later volumes. Reality Check. This was okay. It was a interesting concept. Red Lanterns Volume 1, Blood and Rage, Volume 2, Death of the Red Lanterns, Volume 3, The Second Prophecy, Volume 4, Blood Brothers, Volume 5, Atrocities, and Volume 6, Forged in Blood. I love this series. It's one of the most consistently good series I've read, apart from Volume 6, but we don't talk about Volume 6. Rain, Volume 1 and 2. Wasn't a fan of the twist in this series. It started well. I don't like how it ended. Saga, Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. One of the most overrated comics I've ever read. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And now on to Seven to Eternity, Volume 1, God of Whispers, and Volume 2, Ballad of Betrayal. This is one of my favourite series, one of the most underrated I've ever read. It is brilliant. Everyone needs to pick up Sent to Eternity, and I can't wait for Volume 3. I really can't. Rick Remender is a genius. After that is Shadow Man by Garth Ennis. First half of this was pretty good. Second half was crap. Anyway, then we've got Shadow Man Volume 1 Birthright, Shadow Man Volume 2 Dark Reckoning, Shadow Man Volume 3 Dead Side Blues, sorry I can't read, Volume 4 Fear, Blood and Shadows, and Volume 5 End Times. First two volumes were amazing. Volume 3 was quite disappointing. Volume 4 was really good. Volume 5 was awful. And yeah, that's it. Simpsons Comics Strike Back. This is another thing that my dad gave me. It's, fun. It's Simpsons. So yeah, Sovereign Volume 1. This is fucking trash. If you saw my update video from when I came back to the channel, I just shit on this book. I want to get rid of this. I'm tempted to burn it. So yeah, Superman vs. the Revenge Squad, another book that my dad handed down to me. It's like the only book on my shelf that I haven't read. So after that is Uncanny X-Force, The Apocalypse Solution. I bought this because it's Rick Remender and Jerome Pena, two of my favourite creators, who, they also did Sent to Eternity. For an X-Men book, it's brilliant because I don't like the X-Men and I actually like this. So, but that's probably due to the great creative team behind it. Union Jack. This first volume was pretty good, and then Union Jack London Falling. I really liked London Falling. After that is Unity, Volume 1 To Kill a King, and Volume 2 Trapped by Webnet. Volume 1 was disappointing, Volume 2 was pretty good. After that is The Unworthy Thor. I bought after watching Thor Ragnarok when I was on that Thor hype, and it was pretty good. Valen the Outcast Volume 1, Abomination. This was an okay fantasy story. The Valiant by Matt Kint, Jeff Lemire, and Paulo Rivera, I think. Everything about this book is stellar. The writing is stellar. Two of my favourite writers, one of my favourite artists. It's just so good. My favourite Valiant book and one of my favourite comics of all time. Venom vs. Carnage, which actually is a prequel to Carnage. It came out before Carnage. This is really good. Really good creepy art from Clayton Crane. I really like this. Walking Dead Volume 1 by Kirkman. Everyone knows what Walking Dead is, and if you don't know already, it's not very good. So yeah, I probably triggered a lot of people in this video because of what I said about Saga and what I said about Walking Dead. Warlords of Appalachia surprised me. I quite enjoyed it, but it felt like it was unfinished. Basically, it felt like there was more that needed to happen. Watchmen, another overrated comic. It's okay. This copy my dad passed down to me, but yeah, it's alright. Wildcats Compendium. I don't remember anything about this apart from Jim Lee was a big part of this. It was classic Image days. I know they're now owned by DC because of Wildstorm. Winter Soldier: The Bitter March. I picked this up because I'm a fan of the Winter Soldier from the film Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And also it's written by Rick Remender, my favourite writer. And I quite enjoyed this, yeah, even though there was a significant lack of the Winter Soldier in it. Then we have Exo Manowar, Volume 1 By the Sword, Volume 2 Enter Ninjak, Volume 3 Planet Death, Volume 4 Homecoming, and Volume 5 At War with Unity. Probably my favourite Valiant series overall so far. I really like this, especially Volume 2. Volume 2 was brilliant, and I love Ninjak as well. And then we come down here. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that's from Exo Manowar 2017, written by Matt Kint. It's Volume 1. The first Valiant trade I ever bought, actually, and I really, really enjoyed it. Then we have Deadpool Max Nutjob and Deadpool Max Involuntary Armageddon, the hardcovers. Not very good. Just not very good. Then we have East of West, Volume Year 1, the hardcover. I don't know why I bought this, because I don't even really like the series, and yet I paid money for it. So, yeah, shows how stupid I am. So I'm just going to show you the last of my collection now, the books that I have yet to read. So I have Volume 1 of Suicide Risk. Got this really cheap from Forbidden Planet, and it seems really interesting. I will definitely let you guys know what I think of it when I read it. £2.50, so that's why I got it. Aquaman and the Others, Volume 1, by Dan Sturgeon, Lan Medina, Alan Martinez, and Matt Miller. Got this really cheap. I'm excited to read it. The team of the others, they seem pretty shit, but it's an Aquaman book, and I got it really cheap, so why not? Demon Wars, Volume 2, The Demon Spirits, a sequel to Demon Wars Volume 1. Yeah, I've had this for a while, haven't read it yet. Only recently got the first volume, so I will read this soon. Then we have this big boy. Can't even see most of it. It's East of West Year 2. The second hardcover. Don't know why I bought this, because I wasn't even a huge fan of the first one. But they look nice, so that's all that really matters. Then we have Lake of Fire. This is a miniseries from Image that I've wanted to read for a while, so I'll definitely get on that shortly. Then we have Demon Knights Volume 2 and Volume 3. I've wanted to read this series since it first came out in like 2013, I think. Biggest problem is these 2 volumes, really cheap, easy to get. Volume 1 is out of print, and the cheapest it goes for is like £40. So that's why I don't own that yet. But when I get that, definitely reading this ASAP. Then we have The Delinquents, which is a Valiant book, as you can see. The reason I have this and I haven't read it yet, I found it really cheap in a shop, but I'm not at the point where this takes place in my Valiant reading yet, so that's why I haven't read it yet. Ivar Time Walker, Volume 1. This was given to me by a friend because she had this, and then she bought the hardcover, so she didn't need this anymore. She was like, you can have it, and I was like, thank you very much. So again, I haven't got to this point in the Valiant reading order, but I have it for when I do. And then last but not least, Lobo, The Last Zarnian. This is another book that my dad gave to me. Big fan of the character Lobo, but I just haven't got around to reading this yet. So yeah, if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new and you like comic related content. I have a Wordary affiliate link in the description. If you want to buy any of these books, or any books at all, like manga, novels, anything, that link will be in the description. If you use that link, I get a 5% kickback from whatever you spend. You don't have to spend anything extra. So you're doing me a favour, and I really appreciate if you do use that link. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.